Hey yo, what's decent? Now I have a crazy match that I had about 3 days ago. As you guys can probably tell by the date that this battle was registered. And when I first saw this team preview, I was like, oh my god, I lost. Especially with what I'm trying to do right now. I'm raising Pokemon and trying to get at least one battle included with every Pokemon that I have raised thus far. And I've had Chlorissa in my box just sitting there, man. So I figured, like, let's just get this guy a try. I am Assault Fest, so he leads out with Greninja. Me thinking that he was actually going to U-turn and or do another type of move that will change his typing. I go to the Water Pulse, he goes out into Gudra. I have to retaliate back with the Dragon Pulse, but he also happens to be Assault Fest, so that is why I survived his initial Thunderbolt, and that's why he like took Dragon Pulse so well. So being that I have that knowledge now, I'm just gonna go into my Carbink. He goes for the Sludge Bomb, completely forgetting that Rock and Fairy kind of evens out poison damage output inflicted onto that kind of dual typing. So I'm able to get up a free Rocks, well, almost a free Rocks. I mean, I take a little damage from the Sludge Bomb. And then in comes the Tyranitar. I'm gonna go for the Rock Tomb because I noticed where Carbink doesn't really have access to a lot of good things. I mean, it could be a great dual screener, but at the same time, it's a very easy Pokemon to set up on. So I do have the Rock Tomb. I'm supposed to having like Stone Edge and or Rock Slide, and what that does is it actually hinders my opponent from being able to effectively set up on me. So now he goes for the Dragon Dance, and instead of being +1/+1, he's actually +1/+0 where speed is concerned. So it's not just in this case scenario. Let's say for instance that I have an opponent waiting on the backside with Greninja, and then like I have Carbink into play, and I go for the Rock Tomb, inflicting on the Greninja, and then come in with Starmie. Now Starmie threatens Greninja, as where in normal circumstances it'll be the other way around. So it could be like a team player kind of move, like an attacking move can be used in a supportive kind of way, which is what I'm getting at. So anyway, he switches out into Zapdos. As you guys did see, I'm going to be able to roar him out, predicting him to switch out into Aegislash, and then on the Aegislash go and use Leech Seed as he goes straight for the attacking move, that being the Sacred Sword. Chestnut is a defensive monster, so I know he's not going to want to stay in with the Aegislash, so I'm going to roar out. And I actually made a narrative mistake I've just noticed. I didn't predict him earlier to switch out into Aegislash. I predicted him to switch in general, and it just happened to roar him out into Aegislash is what I meant. So now he switches out into Gudra, which was his initial switching on my secondary roar, and then I phase him out into Greninja, which is a huge problem. That's not what I wanted to see right now. So I'm going to have to sacrifice something. I don't have a lot of things on my party that could take Greninja let alone 2 attacks. You know, oh my goodness, this thing is a monster. Maybe if I was specially defensive, I could probably have gotten off an explosion. That would have been sexy, but I guess not in this case scenario, not in this lifetime, because my Carbink is physically defensive, and I'm only deciding to make one. So, I mean, I love this thing, but you know, it serves no purpose when there's better Stealth Rockers in play, like Mamoswine and Tyranitar and things like that. So he's gonna switch out into his Gudra as Death Fodder. He's gonna go straight out into his Tyranitar. Now, the first time he went for the Dragon Dance, so I'm thinking that he's gonna want to make me think that he's gonna do that again, and me staying and go for the Play Rough. I predict him to go for an attacking move, Fire Punch and or Earthquake or whatever he decides to go out into, and then I go into Chestnut because I know Chestnut is a monster defensively, man, and can take those walls. So I'll go and use first layer of spikes. I believe that's my first layer of spikes I lit up in this game, 3 minutes in this video, and in comes the Gengar. So I'm thinking like, yo, did he forget? Like, I got bulletproof. Like, what are you really doing to Chestnut? But then he shows me Dazzling Gleam, and I was like, oh, I stay forgetting about that move. So I got into Garchomp just to test the waters to see if he was Choice Scarf. So if he wasn't Choice Scarf, I would have thought that he would have wanted to switch, because why would you switch in a Garchomp knowing that you're slower and you just saw a Dazzling Gleam onto a Gengar unless you knew that you were Scarfed yourself, which I am Scarfed. So I switch out to Mawile just to test the waters to see if he was Scarfed. He decides to stay in, and that tells me that he's Scarfed. So now in comes the Zapdos. I go for the Swords Dance. Not really me wanting to go to my Mega Evolution first of all, because I thought that I would get like more usage where Intimidate was concerned. If I was Sheer Force, then hell yeah, I would have did that like first turn. But I was thinking like maybe there'll be a case scenario later on in the battle where I'll have to rely on the Intimidation to, like, I guess have like some sort of survivability to make a comeback or something like that. You never know, ladies and gentlemen. So he goes and uses Substitute as I go for the Play Rough, me thinking that he was gonna actually switch up his moves, because the way that he brought it in earlier on the Chestnut entailed to me specifically that he had the Heat Wave. So I'm thinking like, okay, this clown's about to go for the Thunderbolt and the Heat Wave. That's not the case. He goes and predicts me to switch out into Garchomp and goes to the Roost. Great great play by him, which makes him score another great play by going for the Toxic. And let's just say that he actually went for the attacking move on the turn that I decided to switch in my Garchomp. That will mean that his Zapdos cannot switch back in thanks to the Stealth Rock being present, and at the same time, it will mean that I will be able to O-hit KO from that range of HP with the Dragon Claw as opposed to now rely on the Outrage to KO the now replenished Zapdos that you just see on the screen not too long ago. So anyway, in comes a Gengar, and I have to switch into a Gengar of my own because I don't want Mawile taking any unnecessary damage. Let's just say, hypothetically speaking, that I went into Mawile. Mawile can potentially be 2-hit KO'd by the Shadow Ball, and what that have meant that I would have to make an unnecessary prediction between going for Sucker Punch and or Swords Dance. And if I go for Swords Dance, I risk him O-hit KO'ing me from that range of HP with the Shadow Ball, and if I go for Sucker Punch, I risk him switching out into a T-Tar. I mean, come on, who would want to be in that situation? So I'm here against Aegislash after I go straight for the play rough, knowing full well that Gengar can't O-hit KO me from that range of HP after switching into Mawile. And I knew that he was actually going to go for the Shadow Sneak, so I switched up my moves and go for the Swords Dance. And thank God in that case scenario that I'm not 252 in attack, because the play rough would have been able to finish off the Aegislash as soon as it initially came into play, which meant I wouldn't have the opportunity to get up a Swords Dance in order to finish off the Greninja after the boost that I just got from the Swords Dance. So now in comes Tyranitar. I'm just going to switch right back into my Garchomp, knowing full well that for that amount of HP, I'm pretty sure that I can take an unstab, unboosted Earthquake coming from Tyranitar. So I'm just going to lock myself into Outrage and then finish off his Tyranitar. He can't switch back in Gengar. My whole plan is to have his Gengar come back into play, lock himself onto Dazzling Gleam, finish off my Garchomp, and then come back in with my Mawile and Sucker Punch for a good game. But that doesn't even take place, because come to find out that after the battle, he said that, oh, I don't have perfect speed IVs on my Gengar. So I'm like, whoa, I sped. Holy crap. I could have like stayed in a turn before. So Gengar had me around the ropes the whole time. So that was definitely a good game. Peace. What you doing?